This is the second video in the backswing three-part series. This video we're going to look at errors that occur from the backswing and hopefully illustrate better to you how the backswing can introduce errors into your game. Let's take a look at two common errors that occur in a dink situation based on having a backswing like this. First one is popping the ball up. Point of contact just as before, let's say is here. I'm trying to strike the ball at this point with my paddle, but I start the paddle from back here. What happens is I have to accelerate the paddle. I have to bring the paddle forward in order to get it to this point in time. If I release it late, I'm going to have to accelerate the paddle as it's arriving at the ball, popping it up. The other error that can occur when you have a backswing in the dink situation is hitting the ball after the point of contact. So the point of contact is here. This is where I'd like to hit the ball. But because I took the paddle back and I was late in my release, if I didn't accelerate the paddle, pop up, then I may hit the ball behind the point of contact. If I hit the ball behind the point of contact, the angle of my paddle and the height of the ball will result in the ball hitting the net. If during a game you find that your dinks are either going high or into the net, consider shortening the backswing. I want to clarify that when we're talking about the backswing, we're talking about the part of the swing behind the point of contact, not the part of the swing after the point of contact, which is sometimes also called a follow-through. So the backswing would be, if this is the point of contact on the ground stroke, this is the backswing, this is the follow-through. What we're talking about in these videos is this part of the swing, not this part of the swing. You should always follow through on your shots, whether they be dinks, volleys, ground strokes, overheads, any shot. Follow-through is very important. What we're focusing on here is this part of the swing, the backswing. And what we're trying to do is shorten it in order to reduce errors from a part of a swing that doesn't add anything to the game. The length of the backswing in pickleball oftentimes doesn't add anything to your shot. Take a dink situation. I can execute a dink shot with no or minimal backswing. So the question is, what does this add to a dink shot? The answer is nothing, except the possibility of errors. Let's see how the pop-up error might occur in the shot. Point of contact is here. I took the paddle back, and now I have to accelerate to hit the ball. This is what it might look like. Ball goes high. Ball still goes high. Now let's see what happens if I strike the ball after the point of contact, how the ball ends up. I'm going to feed the ball here and hit it lower because that's where the ball would be after it traveled through the point of contact. It's very hard to execute the dink from behind the point of contact near your leg. The angle of the paddle usually will not allow you to execute the dink unless you break your wrist, which can cause other errors. Now let's look at a dink at the point of contact with no backswing to see the difference. As you can see, when my dink started at the point of contact, rather than taking a backswing, I removed the acceleration error with the pop-up and also reduced the late error into the net. Let's look at how the backswing can introduce errors into volleys. We use a backhand volley for purpose illustration. Let's use this as the optimum point of contact for the shot that I'm trying to execute. Let's say I take a large backswing on this shot and I'm early, so I don't strike the ball here, but I strike it out in front. What will happen is the ball will travel in that direction. If I'm late, the ball will pass the point of contact and the paddle will strike it like this, going in that direction. If I'm trying to strike down on the ball to hit it in my opponent's feet and I'm early, paddle will close like this, resulting in the ball going into the net. If I'm late, then the paddle will be open and the ball will travel up in a pop-up. If I shorten my backswing to here, so I start my backswing here and finish the stroke from there, there's less chance that I'm going to mistime the ball and either hit it early or late. When I take a large backswing, there's a higher chance that I'm going to hit the ball early or late, resulting in an error. So if I can shorten the backswing, instead of starting all the way back here, maybe starting here or here, I'll reduce the chances of error that will come from the backswing. I'll reduce the excessive backswing and the higher chance of error that come from the excessive backswing. Let's take a side view of the errors that can happen in a volley from a backswing. We're going to continue to stick with the backhand volley. This will be our optimal point of contact for that backhand volley. If I strike the ball early, meaning I didn't strike it here, so I struck it in front there, what can happen is the ball will go off the court that way. If I strike the ball late here, what happens is the angle of my paddle goes out that way, resulting in the ball heading in that direction, which is not where I'm aiming to hit the ball. If I have a downward motion, because I'm trying to hit down on the ball, and I hit it early, what happens is my paddle is too far out in front, the angle of the paddle breaks too far, it'll end up in the net. And if I strike it late and trying to hit it down, what happens is a ball can go up at the top. If I shorten that backswing, say to here, now there's a greater chance that I'm going to strike the ball at the optimal point of contact and execute the shot that I'm trying to generate. We're not going to spend any time talking about backswings and ground strokes for a few reasons. First, you do need a certain amount of backswing on a ground stroke in order to impart enough energy into the ball to send it to where you're trying to send it, which is usually a longer distance than in a dink or in a volley. Second, because it's a better use of your time to focus on shortening your backswing on dinks and volleys, you'll get more value out of that reduction in backswing. Because a long backswing introduces many more errors into dinks and volleys than it does to ground strokes. And third, if you learn how to shorten your backswing on dinks and volleys, it's likely you'll end up shortening your ground stroke backswing as well. More often than not, when an overhead is hit long, it's because the person hitting it was late. So let's take this as being the optimal point of contact for my overhead stroke. If I take a long backswing and I'm late in releasing my paddle, the ball keeps on traveling in this direction. By the time the paddle arrives at the ball, it's too late. The paddle is open, then the ball will go long. Shortening your backswing will reduce your errors and improve your game. I hope this video has been helpful. If you've enjoyed it, subscribe below. Let us know in the comments if there's anything else you'd like for us to cover. I think there's a subscribe button somewhere on this page. I'm sorry, what? What? There's more videos? They're on the side? Oh. Apparently you got more videos. They're over there.